In the quiet countryside, nestled between rolling hills, lay the village of Wexley. It was a peaceful place where farmers toiled from dawn till dusk. Among them were two men who lived vastly different lives. One was Lord Ashford, the wealthiest landowner in the region. Born into privilege, he inherited vast farmlands, a grand estate, and more wealth than he could ever spend. He had never worked a single day in his life. Luck had done it all for him. The other was Thomas Beckett, a poor farmer who owned a small patch of land and an old plough passed down by his father. He worked tirelessly, his hands calloused, his back aching, yet his farm barely yielded enough to feed his family. Fate had placed them at opposite ends of life's spectrum, but fate, as they would soon learn, is unpredictable. One summer, the king announced a contest. Whoever produced the best wheat harvest by the end of the season would be granted a piece of royal land. Lord Ashford scoffed at the idea. "I already own more land than I need," he said, sipping his wine. "Winning this will be effortless." For Thomas, this was the chance of a lifetime. He had no wealth, no workers, and no expensive tools. But he had something far greater: determination. As the season began, Lord Ashford did what he always did: paid others to do the work. He hired the best laborers, bought the finest seeds, and even sought alchemists for growth potions. Confident in his wealth, he rarely visited his fields. Thomas had no such luxuries. He tilled the soil himself, carefully removing weeds and tending to every inch of his land. When a drought struck, Ashford's workers refused to water the fields without extra pay. Thomas carried buckets of water from the river, one trip at a time, to keep his crops alive. When a storm hit, Ashford's men fled. Thomas, drenched and exhausted, stood in his field, reinforcing fences and shielding his crops. People in the village whispered, "Why fight against luck? Some are born rich, some are not," they said. But Thomas didn't listen. He believed effort could outshine fortune. As weeks passed, a rumor spread. Lord Ashford's crops were failing. His workers had grown careless, taking shortcuts. His fields were patchy, infested with pests, and weak. By the time Ashford inspected his land, it was too late. His money had failed him. Meanwhile, Thomas's crops stood tall, golden under the sun. His soil, carefully tended, had yielded an abundant harvest. As the deadline approached, the villagers gathered to witness the final tally. The difference was undeniable. Thomas's fields overflowed with prosperity, while Ashford's lay in ruin. The king's officials inspected the crops. They declared Thomas the winner. The crowd erupted in cheers. The poor farmer had done the impossible. He had outworked luck itself. When Thomas was brought before the king, the monarch studied him. "Tell me, farmer, how did you achieve what even the wealthiest man in Wexley could not?" Thomas bowed his head. "Hard work is a man's greatest ally. Fortune may favor the rich, but effort rewards those who refuse to surrender." The king smiled. "Then you shall have your land, not as a gift of luck, but as a reward for your perseverance." Lord Ashford, humiliated and silent, realized a harsh truth. Wealth cannot replace hard work, nor can privilege outmatch perseverance. As Thomas walked away, a landowner at last, he glanced at his old, worn-out plough. It had once been a symbol of struggle. Now it was proof that in the battle of hard work versus luck, effort always wins.